Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Get right with the Most High. Hey, man, this is what happens when you surround yourself with too many yes men. Never surround yourself with too many yes men. Always surround yourself with people that's going to critique you and correct you when you're wrong and when you're right. Always. Never surround yourself with a bunch of yes men. Because you end up in a situation like this. You're never gonna, your ego will put you in a bad predicament. You see what I'm saying? Your ego will always put you in a bad predicament. And that's what's happening here. So, you made a big mistake. 18 agencies told you not to do it, but you still went and did it. Now you want the allies to jump in, and the allies is telling you it ain't happening. Let's get into it. All right, family, we about to get into it. This is when keeping it real goes wrong, and FO. You know what I mean? He thought he had a plan. The plan ain't gonna go like he want. He want China to jump in there. What? China ships could go through with no problem. What would China go in there for? The Europeans was like, nah, it ain't going down. Do you know what I mean? Bruh, like this is so bad. I don't think, this is bad, man. Don't surround yourself around yes men. All right, let's get into it. There's going to be another video coming up after this one, all right?
Talking to other countries about working with us for the policing of the strait. And I think we're getting good response. If we do, that's great. And if we don't, that's great too. Remember, like as an example, in many cases, the NATO countries, we're always there for NATO.
President Trump is pressing the NATO allies and China to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He told reporters he is in contact with about 7 countries, but he didn't say exactly which ones. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us outside the White House today. Nancy, how are allies responding to that ask from President Trump?
Allies is responding to talking about get the F up out of here. That's how they respond.
So far, their responses range, Mugo, from non-committal to rejection of the president's call for them to participate in helping ships to get through the Strait of Hormuz. The president warned that it could be very bad for NATO in the future if they don't participate. Well, take a listen to what German officials are now saying. They say this is not NATO's war, and they point out that the U.S. and Israel didn't even consult them before going to war, and therefore they don't believe that they should have to participate. Similarly, the Brits are non-committal, saying they're not going to be sending ships. The French say maybe they'll help in the future, but they want things stabilized first. So this morning I asked the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt how she and this White House more broadly feel about the fact that so far allies are saying no. Why should other countries that weren't consulted about this war, that aren't involved in this war, now put their troops in harm's way in the Strait of Hormuz?
Because these other countries are benefiting greatly from the United States military taking out the threat of Iran. The rogue Iranian regime has long not just posed a threat to the United States of America, but of course to our Gulf and Arab partners in the region. Their ballistic missile capability that the United States military is...
Them people wasn't shooting missiles until you started messing with them. That's what you're not saying. Are they benefiting off that strait? Yeah, they are. But everybody benefits off that strait. If you would have never did what you did, nobody would have to come over there to intervene. That's just a fact. That's just a fact, whether people want to agree with it or not. You got them ever-Trumpers, you know what I'm saying, that even if he does something wrong, they don't call him out on it. You know what I mean? That's crazy to me, but... You know, in the long run, you make yourself look bad because you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting other people that didn't even want that man in office. You know what I mean? You got to take that into consideration. You got to stop being loyal to parties, man, and be loyal to the people. Either you're for the people or you're not. It's the same thing with the Constitution. Either you're for the Constitution or you're not. So if somebody says something about somebody, there's no reason why you should cancel them. They should be able to say what they want to say. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Currently wiping out was a direct and imminent threat to our European allies as well as our bases in the region. But
No, there wasn't. Not at all. We didn't have to even step in it. But whatever. This is the problem with the government already doing this line.
The president just told the UK a few days ago that he doesn't need their ships, and now he says he does?
the president spoke on that last night. He said that he wished the UK had stepped up sooner and quicker, but he continues to speak with our allies in Europe and is calling on them to do more.
If you destroyed their military, you destroyed their missile capabilities, you destroyed their navy, you shouldn't need nobody. Should be done and over with, right? That's what I'm thinking. Am I wrong or am I tripping? But I'm thinking like, man, oh my God, dude, that's crazy.
So basically, the president's argument is that even though the tensions and the danger in the Strait of Hormuz are the result of fighting between the U.S., Israel, and Iran, that it's really countries that get their oil through the Strait of Hormuz from Middle Eastern countries, more so than the U.S. does, that should now step up to help escort ships through the strait. And once again, Mugo, right now that is an argument that is not that compelling to U.S. allies.
And Nancy, the president is supposed to head to China soon. Is he still going with all that's happening lately?
Well, there are a number of White House officials signposting this morning that that meeting, which is supposed to take place in just a couple of weeks and has been on the books for about 6 months, is likely going to be delayed. The Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, said so. Caroline Leavitt said so. They made it clear that this delay is not due to some sort of U.S.-China fallout over China's involvement in, potential involvement in sending help to the Strait of Hormuz. Has nothing to do with any fallout over trade. They don't want to rattle global markets. They said it is merely because the president may have to stay here in the United States and monitor war-related issues. And they say if that happens, they'll try to reschedule sometime in the near future.
She got somebody dropping off a load. You could have picked a better spot than that one. You know what I mean? But hey man, let me be frank with y'all. I'm gonna be honest. China don't need us. We need them more than they need us. I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. I'm gonna keep it a stack. We need them more than they need us. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, whether you like it or not. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? America's not the same America that it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Trump said Kamala would have been Biden 2.0. That we would have been in these situations under Kamala. You know what I mean? So if she was 2.0, so what, you Biden 3.0? I mean, I'm confused, but we're going to get into another one, man. Hold on. We're going to get into another one. Let's not listen to the news over here or the propaganda. Let's listen to it out of the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? Let's see what they got to say. The Europeans. You know what I mean? Let's see what they got to say.
After Donald Trump called for global efforts to secure the Strait of Hormuz, Germany's response has left no room for interpretation.
We are ready to ensure safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz diplomatically. However, there will be no military participation.
Trump has warned of a, quote, very bad future for NATO if members refuse to help reopen the waterway through which a fifth of the world's crude supplies and a substantial amount of gas normally run.
You caused the chaos and you mad at them. Dude. 18 agencies tell you not to do it, but you still did it. 70 to 80% of the country is not with it, and you still did it. Take accountability, man. You made a mistake and just call it off. Take your losses, regardless. You're going to take your losses regardless. Regardless. You know what I mean? The people who's going to suffer is the people here. Whether you voted for him or you voted for Kamala, you're still going to suffer. That's still your president, whether you like it or not.
The German Chancellor, however, said the Iran war had, quote, nothing to do with the alliance. On this, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer agrees. He said Britain was working with allies to reopen the strait, but promised his country wouldn't be drawn into the wider war. Meanwhile, in Brussels, European Union foreign ministers are discussing their options this Monday. According to the bloc's foreign policy chief, one of them is extending the mandate of Operation Aspides, a naval mission that protects ships in the Red Sea, to the Strait of Hormuz.
If we want to have security in this region, then it would be easiest to actually already use the operation that we have in the region and maybe change a bit.
Spain and Italy, though, said they weren't fans of the idea.
We believe that Operation Aspides and the current mandate are appropriate, so no changes need to be made.
I don't believe these missions can be extended to the Strait of Hormuz, partly because one is an anti-piracy mission and the other a defensive one. I believe that diplomacy must take precedence.
Launched in 2024 to prevent attacks on trade vessels by Iran-backed Houthi rebel forces, Aspides relies on a few warships at any one time, like this French one. As for France, President Emmanuel Macron has suggested countries could use warships to escort tankers and container ships as a defensive measure, but only once fighting around Iran eases.
Well, I don't blame the Europeans. You can't blame them. I don't blame them. Why would they? It'll create a war. That'll create World War III. If they get involved, Russia will have to get involved. China will have to get involved. Probably North Korea will probably get involved. It's just a mess, man. You created a mess, man. You got to take accountability for it. Not only you, the Republican Party, man. You guys are spewing all that stuff. PSF, Miller, you know what I mean? You guys created a mess. You got to own up to it. And who suffers is the American people. Well, you guys don't got to worry about the price going up. You guys are rich. But every other American got to worry about it. You know, food costs. You don't eat the same food we do, so it don't matter, right? Not to them. It don't matter at all. That's the thing. You know, like I say, you call Kamala Biden 2.0, so you Biden 3.0. I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully we don't lose no more soldiers or nothing. Hopefully just call it quits. Because it's out of control. You messed up the whole GCC. You messed up their economy from Qatar to UAE to Saudi Arabia. People not going to go over there. They not. And if you stop, right, if you was to stop, they're going to have to negotiate with Iran. It's a no-win situation. It's out of control. But if you neutralize them like you said you did, you shouldn't need nobody's help. That's the thing. Sometimes you got to take things with a grain of salt and look at the news that's going on around the world. Peace and love. I'll catch you on the next one. Get right with the Most High. Hey, man, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Get with like-minded people. Peace and love.